Welcome everybody, Lisa Thomas, the Executive Director from BNI Melbourne North, and welcome to Network Success Northside Notables. This podcast is all about celebrating our local heroes. A lot of the time we look to celebrities and international entrepreneurs for our inspiration and for our knowledge, when we actually have some great local heroes here in the north of Melbourne. So this is all about celebrating them. So today we have Hamish Jones with us. So welcome, Hamish.
Hello, Lisa. Not many times I get called a hero, but I'll take that. Thank you.
Yes. That's, we just like to celebrate the people that are doing well and that are also contributing to their community. So tell us about your business.
So I've have a telecommunications business, a technology business. I've been doing that for 20 years now. Basically, we work with other small businesses to help them with their right phone systems, their right internet plans, just basically getting the best technology fit, because we always sort of believe that better technology makes better businesses.
Yes, and not all of us are tech heads, so
No.
we need experts to help us along. So how long have you been in business for, Hamish?
I've been in business for 20 years, so not the same business. I've been in the industry for 20 years. So I've been selling telecommunication products since 2004, and Best Business Deals has been going since 2013.
So that's a long time for in a technology space.
Mhm.
There would have been lots of changes and developments. How have you actually navigated those? So how do you make sure that you keep up to date and you're making sure that the recommendations that you're giving are the best for people?
Well, part of it is wouldn't say I'm always 100% up to date, but I've just got to be one step ahead of my customers.
Yep.
But I enjoy playing with technology. It's like being a kid every day and buying new toys and having fun with it. So that makes it a little bit easier. But also, I think it still comes down to fundamentals in business and making sure the tech fits into that. So there's no point in introducing something new if it's not needed. It's understanding people's businesses first and then working out where the tech fits.
So what are the different products that you have or the services that you provide for people? Do you want to just explain a little bit more about that?
Traditionally we are a telecommunications service provider, so we actually provide office phone, the hardware and the plans. We provide NBN services. We also provide mobile services as well. So we don't own our own network. I wish I was big enough to own my own network. We buy wholesale and then resell to customers, but our customers get a bill from us, so we are the first point of call. On top of that, we offer sort of technology consulting in terms of implementation, how to use that technology better in terms of the systems and processes and upgrading their business.
Okay, that's great. So we've seen the inclusion of AI come into business. How are you navigating that from your own business, but also advising other people?
Look, I use AI tools every day. There's a number of different tools, but ChatGPT is one that most have probably heard of and have dabbled with. That is a tool I use every day, and it's in various different aspects, from helping to draft the first draft of content through to strategic planning and coming up with different ideas in different parts of the business. In many ways, I go to ChatGPT first. I don't go to Google anymore. If I want to ask a question, I'll ask of ChatGPT first, and it'll search the web for me and usually give me the answer I'm looking for through training and through just using it over a certain period of time. There are other automations in terms of workflows, so like my CRM and email talking to each other and things like that, just to help my own business. And I sort of say to clients that if you're not using AI or automation tools, you are going to be left behind, because other businesses that are using AI and automation to not just enhance their workflows, but actually give better service to their customers, because at the end of the day, if you use technology properly, it does help you serve your customers, are the ones that are going to thrive. And usually it is just, hey, try ChatGPT, see how it works for you, go crazy with it, and then work from there once they sort of see how powerful a tool some of these tools actually are.
Yeah. So what do you do on a regular basis to make sure that you keep up to date?
It's just reading a lot of different industry-based websites and watching YouTube videos, to be honest.
YouTube. Everyone should spend some time on YouTube.
Well, as long as you're watching the right things on YouTube, it's one of the most valuable resources on the internet. And also, funnily enough, more recently, I'm actually using TikTok as well because I'm not as young as I used to be, and it is the search engine for a certain generation of people. So I'm watching a lot of short videos on TikTok as well to see what other people are talking about and doing.
Okay. That's a good tip too. As long as you don't go down the rabbit hole and are there scrolling for hours and hours. Lots of people are talking about their TikTok addiction.
Yes, you do have to be careful with these tools, absolutely, because you can lose time sometimes.
You're in quite a competitive space, the telecommunications space. So how do you stand out from the other providers? Why should we use you, Hamish?
Why should you use me? Well, look. So for us, it's about community building. It is about the network. So it's not necessarily about the products or services at the end of the day. It is a highly competitive industry, as you said. We are competing against companies like Telstra and Vodafone and Optus. Even though we're buying their network to sell to our customers, we're also competing against them at a retail level. And we don't have a multi-billion-dollar above-the-line marketing budget. So it is literally just talking to people and building those relationships, and that trust comes before they buy the product and service. So they know that we are a business owner like them. They know that we know our technology. They know that we care. And then from there, they know afterwards that they're going to get a better level of customer service from us generally. Like they can pick, every customer has my mobile phone number. I don't necessarily always answer on the first call because I get a lot of calls, but I will call them back and I will talk them through their problems and just make sure it gets resolved in a way that, the buck always stops with me.
So I also know that you've been part of BNI for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're part of our Moonee Ponds group that meets at the Clock Tower on a Friday. So how has BNI actually helped you develop your business and your profile, so to speak?
Well, I mean, I've been in BNI for 15 years now, so not quite as long as I've been in business, but from the day I first walked into a chapter meeting, it was actually an old BNI Essendon chapter, which is no longer with us, but the real estate agent at the time was a client of mine, and he was a client of mine, but they had a telecommunications person in the chapter. That person left, so he immediately got the phone and said, come down and visit the meeting, and I walked in and was hooked. I thought, well, yep, this is my kind of tribe. I'd already been growing my business through what I thought was networking, and yes, it was networking, but it certainly wasn't as effective as being a member of BNI, and it's transformed my business. I think just the things I've learnt from being a member of BNI have grown my business through BNI referrals, but also just some of the education resources available have helped me educate people outside BNI and some of this referral giving two-way processes. So it's helped immensely.
So you've actually seen business, you've expanded your network, all those sorts of
but
things.
Also public speaking skills, presentation skills, and things like that as well. Just some of the non-obvious stuff that you get from being a member of BNI, and I'm still here 15 years later because it works, and because and I think obviously there's a set of core values there. I won't go into them. We only have a short amount of time for this podcast, but one of my favourite ones is actually accountability, and I think it is that accountability of coming to a chapter meeting every week, reporting on what I'm doing for other chapter members, and it's not necessarily the chapter keeping me accountable, it's me holding myself accountable to helping other people in the room and how that works for me.
Yeah, no, that's great. So have you got a success story for us? Have you got a great story that's happened in your business that you can share?
I've got a lot of success stories, everything from, personally, it's clients that we got 15 years ago that are still clients and are still generating business through BNI, but also, even success stories of seeing other members. One of my favourite was I think he's still in BNI, but in another chapter, was a graphic designer that was first time he got up to give his weekly presentation, he was shaking, and then a few years later, he was giving keynote presentations in front of rooms of hundreds of people. So there's so many success stories, and not just mine. And I think it's just great to see that community grow and help other people's success, because that ultimately helps my success as well.
What tips would you like to give to other business owners that might be listening to this podcast, or some, local entrepreneurs? What sort of tips would you give them from your experience of being a business owner, but also growing that community around you?
Mm. Well, if you haven't joined a BNI chapter, go and join BNI, but also other organisations as well. Like join a service organisation like Rotary. Just get out there in the community and spend time talking to people. But it's also at the same time, it's about the quality, not necessarily the quantity of things you do. You can't go to networking events 5-6 nights a week, because you've got to actually follow up with some of the people you meet and develop those relationships. So whether it's Rotary, whether it's a sporting club, whether it's BNI, maximum probably 2 or 3 things that you could really commit to and develop those relationships. But it's also the follow up afterwards, and making sure you're not just meeting people as a transaction. You're actually developing those relationships and deepening those relationships, and continuously sort of fostering. And that's the big thing for me. It is about people. It's about building the community around you, and you'll have your sort of more close-knit group, but even a wider group you can keep more in touch with as well.
That's great. So, what we like to also recommend on the podcast is if there was a business book that had impact on you, or a podcast that you listened to, or something like that. So, what would you recommend to the listeners as far as that's concerned?
Um, there's 2 books that have probably had a really big impact on me. One of them is by Keith Ferrazzi. It's called Never Eat Alone, and it's just basically how you can what I sort of take from that is how you can integrate relationship building and networking into all aspects of your life. So, if you're having lunch somewhere, make it a meaningful meeting where you're catching up with someone. Organize your own dinner parties. Do exercise networking, like whether it's a bike ride or whether it's a walk. Just find opportunities to get people together and build your community, both personally and professionally. And the other one is actually by Ivan Meisner, so the founder of BNI. It's the 29% solution. It's basically you could call it your year-long networking plan, for whatever better descriptions, because it's got 52 tips that you can implement over 52 weeks. And that's a book I've read sort of 5 or 6 times and continuously refer back to, just to reinforce some of the ideas from there, because I think it's a very helpful sort of grounding and starting point, and a well, initially it was a plan, but now it's more of a sort of a reminder of things to keep doing, especially as I get busier, adding things like council, just to remember the important things and get back to it.
So, obviously, you've been in business for a long time, and you've been a BNI member for a long time.
Mm.
What are some of the mistakes that you see that people make when they first start out that can really impact the success of their business? And how can people stop themselves from doing those?
Um, I think I'm gonna flip the question a little bit. I think the most valuable resource that people can get out of BNI that they don't necessarily realize is actually the gains profile. So, as a discussion point, talking about your goals, your accomplishments, what you're interested in, other networks you're part of, and sort of going more in depth to the skills, because it can be used both as a conversation starter, but also almost like a resume to make it easier for people to um, give referrals to you, but also asking the other person so you get that information from them so you can help give referrals to another member. I think the one-to-one meetings are coming back to what the mistake is. A lot of people are having a one-to-one meeting and just sticking to the social stuff. So they might just talk about interests, they might just talk about something else, and not treating it like a business meeting. Especially the first couple of times you catch up for a one-to-one, at least, you need to embed the fact that it's a business meeting and there needs to be business outcomes from it. The more you get to know someone and the more often you catch up, yes, you might spend more time on social and less time on some of the business agenda, but you still have to have that business agenda there and keep that focus on the fact that you are there to work out how you can continue to give referrals, and not just referrals, better referrals to each other.
And what would be the key thing that you do to build a relationship with someone? If you've got a new person that you're meeting with, or you've just gone into council, so there's
Mhm.
lots of people that you're meeting with. what is the tip that you would share with everyone about how to start that relationship so it goes off on a good foot?
Ask better questions and listen to the answers. I think active listening is the most important thing, but put the focus on them. They're going to ask you what you do. They're going to ask you questions as well. But I've always been a big believer in being the one asking more questions because then I always get more information. But people also like talking about themselves as well.
Yes, I always remind people you need to be curious
Mm.
when you're talking to people and be genuinely curious about their business and what they're doing.
Don't ask questions just because you think you're supposed to ask questions because you actually want to know the answer.
Yes. Now, you just had a big trip. I know that you just went overseas for an extended time. You've got a young son and you took him to some amazing places. So just share with us what was one of the best places that you went to on your trip around, half the world,
Half the
really.
world. So
Yes.
we were in Europe for a month, and the highlight of the trip was a highlight that was unexpected. We actually went up into the Arctic Circle in Lapland and visited Santa's village, and also went on a couple of sled rides, one with reindeer and one with dogs. That was an amazing experience. Got a new favourite, Disney as well. Hong Kong Disney was a highlight of the trip on the way back. But Europe in winter, yes, it was a bit cold, but as many Europeans told me, there's no such thing as bad weather. It's just bad clothing choices. So I think the summer vacation, or the Australian summer vacation to Europe is probably going to become more and more popular.
Yeah. And obviously, we all go into business for different reasons, but it's also that flexibility to be able to do things like this with our family is usually what prompts people to go into business. So it's important to have the busy times in business, but also the downtime and the fun times as well.
And the right tech and systems in place to make sure you can run your business and it all runs without you whilst you're overseas as well.
Yep. And people could definitely talk to you about that.
Absolutely.
How can people find you if they want to get in contact with you?
To be honest, the best way is probably via LinkedIn. So if they just do a search for Hamish Jones on LinkedIn, they'll see Best Business Deals and Moonee Valley City Council, and then they'll know that's the right one and just hit the connect request. And I usually say yes, and I'm happy to have a chat via message and share contact details then.
Hamish, thank you very much for being on the podcast today and, being one of our high performers in the region. So thank you for coming along.
Thank you, Lisa.